distinguished members of the jury, eminent delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say at the outset how privileged I feel. First of all, my heartfelt thanks to CSR Journal for giving me this opportunity to be here, not only as a jury member, but allowing me a few precious moments to share my thoughts with you. It might be worthwhile to try and recollect a little bit about the whole CSR journey. Why are we all here today celebrating CSR in a way that our country never celebrated the idea ever before? Why is it that in the last 2 or 3 years, CSR literally resonates from every corporate boardroom, from every company worth its salt? It seemed to me that at every stage, the entire 250 companies of the public sector were falling very short. Everything that they were defining as corporate social responsibility was in fact not CSR at all. And therefore, in conversations with many of the CMDs of the public sector, we tried to work out and understand what can public sector companies do other than what they in any case normally do to give back to society, to help the downtrodden, to bring change into their lives. And from there, on the 1st of April 2010, we launched the first ever CSR guidelines ever written in any country, in any part of the world. That was the time when the first flame was lit. And that led, finally, to the legislation of December 2013, the New Companies Act, and Section 135 thereunder. I was privileged to write the law. I was privileged to get it included in the Companies Act. And let me therefore try and recall, what is it that was now different? Why did we make a law? Very often the question is asked of me, Dr. Chatterjee, many companies were doing CSR much before the law was written. We have been doing it for generations. It's been in our family. Why do we need a law to tell us what we should do in CSR? Surely we already know. More than that, why should government tell us what CSR is about? Don't we know what CSR is in any case? If at all government needs money, impose a 2% tax and be done with it. Why are you imposing this whole CSR regimen on us? And these were the questions that we needed to get past before the act was actually passed in Parliament. The idea was very simple. It's not that you were not doing CSR. Of course you were. Can we now do it better? Number 2, instead of charity or donation or just check writing, can we move to strategic CSR, where companies literally go hands-on and try to make a difference on the ground? Number 3, we do not want your money. We do not want a CSR tax. That's stupid. Government has vast resources, far more than anything that the corporate sector can possibly contribute. Let me give you an example. If the 2% law is implemented 100% by all the 10,546 companies that fall under the ambit of the Act, you will end up spending every year 20,000 crores. Seems like a big number. But for us in government, it is not even small change. What is the budget of one department of the central government? 1 year annual budget. 1 lakh crores is the budget of one department, rural development department, of the government of India. I'm not talking about defense, I'm not talking about the bigger ones. Just rural development alone. So all of the 2% of all of the companies put together is less than 1/5 of the budget of one department of the government only of India, forget about state governments. So we don't want your money. This is what we told the corporates. What we want is that you spend your own money in your own way, but do it in such a manner that you do it for the poorest of the poor. Do it strategically. Don't write checks and forget about it. So what does the law bring in? The law brings in 5 or 6 very important things that change the face of CSR completely. 1, all decisions in CSR will invite the finest minds in the company. Decisions in CSR will be taken in the board by 3 members of the board of the company who will be called the CSR committee. No longer the whims and fancies of different people in the organization or at lower levels, board level decision making. Number 2, fixation of responsibility and accountability. The names of the 3 board members with their snapshots are to be on the website of the company. If your CSR is done wrong, the accountability lies with people who have a name and who have a face. No question of escape. Number 3, you can go on and on talking about CSR is in my heart, in my blood, in my veins, in my brain. None of it works. How much did you spend? Your CSR must be rupee measurable. If you cannot measure it in rupees, don't do it. Because the management principle tells you if you cannot measure it, it will not get done. Number 4, in order to be CSR, it must be a project. Every single CSR activity is either a project or it is not CSR. Why a project? Because if it is a project, it has a start date, it has an end date. It has an allocation of resources. It can be monitored, it can be measured, its impact can actually be identified. Also, geographically, it can be seen where is the project being implemented. Number 5, the use of implementation agencies, only 3 in number. Either a society under the 1861 Society Registration Act, or a trust, or a Section 8, now Section 25 company, non-profit company. So here we try to ensure that the corporate provides the fund. The implementation is not by people sitting in boardrooms. Implementation is by people who work at the grassroots every day, who have the pulse of the poor in their hands, who understand their needs and their requirements, who see life through the same lens that Mr. Anshu just told us. We don't see it in that lens, we're not there. But there are people there who see it through that lens, people like him. We need to get those people energized, support them, help them, go out of our way. Then strategic CSR gets done. It is because of these seminal changes that the Act actually received the assent of the members of Parliament. I cannot forget that December day in 2013 when Mr. Sachin Pilot was actually piloting the company's bill of 2013, and I was sitting in the officers' gallery watching the events. And my ministers asked me, Dr. Chatterjee, आपके ideas तो बहुत बढ़िया हैं, लेकिन हमारे members of parliament इसको support क्यों करें? हमारे जो जनप्रतिनिधि हैं, वो CSR में क्या देखेंगे? आप एक ब्यूरोक्रेट हैं, आपने बढ़िया सा लॉ लिख दिया, हमारे सामने फाइलों में आपकी ड्राफ्टिंग 100 में से 100 मार्क्स आप ले गए, लेकिन मैं पार्लियामेंट में क्या बोलूंगा? तो हमारी जो रणनीति होगी वो क्या होगी इसको पार्लियामेंट के फ्लोर में पेश करने का? और तभी जो हमारी रणनीति बनी थी वो ये थी कि हर एक वो जो इंसान जो CSR को सपोर्ट करता है वो दो चीजें करता है। एक, इस देश के विकास को सपोर्ट करता है, डेवलपमेंट को सपोर्ट करता है। अगर वो CSR को नहीं सपोर्ट करता है तो एंटी डेवलपमेंट है। यानी जो भी मेंबर खड़ा होकर बोलेगा कि मैं CSR का विरोध करता हूं तो वो बिल्कुल ही एंटी डेवलपमेंट है। नंबर 2, जो जनप्रतिनिधि ये कहेगा कि मैं CSR का विरोध करता हूं वो हमारे गरीबों के खिलाफ है। यानी CSR को आप एक प्रो पुअर, प्रो डेवलपमेंट आइटम के हिसाब से आप पेश करें, और आप देखिए कि जो हमारे सदस्य हैं, ऑनरेबल सदस्यगण, वो एकजुट होकर एक मत से, एक कंठ से इसको जरूरन सपोर्ट करेंगे। और वही हुआ। उस दिन इस विधायक पर 10 घंटे की चर्चा हुई। उस 10 घंटे के अंदर 8 घंटे की चर्चा सिर्फ एक सेक्शन पे हुआ, सेक्शन 135, and cutting across party lines, MP after MP, MP after MP, criticized other portions of the act, but were unanimous in supporting section 135. And it is to the credit of our parliamentarians, to the credit of our local representatives of the people, and to all of us put together, that we were able to bring CSR under the law, under the act. And because that has happened, all these 3 years have seen such a galvanization of the way CSR is implemented and CSR is done. A few words into the future. What do we see ahead of us? What are the factors that will make sure that CSR works or doesn't work? The first and most important part is the synchronization of the viewpoints, the abilities of the corporate sector and the NGO sector, the civil society sector. These were two sectors who hardly ever talked to each other before. And in many of the axioms that I give out, one axiom is this: today I see before my eyes a social revolution taking place which is of this kind: the corporatization of civil society and the NGOization of corporates. Because they are now working together, they're speaking each other's language. The bridges between them are breaking. Hands are being shaken. Synchronizations are taking place. Synergies are happening. And we saw here, before our very eyes, each of the people who came out onto the stage. They spoke so eloquently about the way they have implemented the project. And that would never have happened if corporates and NGOs did not work together in tandem to see that our work benefits the poorest of the poor. Therefore, one of those key benchmarks is this. And the second, of course, most important fact, which I again and again emphasize, is this: every project that a corporate does must be evaluated for its impact. Did we leave something on the ground or did we not? How can we measure that impact? And if we can, instead of saying what a great job we did, do what I now call third-party evaluation. we have developed in the Ministry of Corporate Affairs a whole panel of people who do impact evaluation. If companies can get even 10% of their projects evaluated by third parties, then we would have an objective view of what is succeeding and what is not. These are the two broad parameters which I wanted to place before you. But let me say, in the 3 years of the implementation of this law, we have seen enormous changes, enormous gains, enormous momentum. And events such as the one which we are attending today contribute to that momentum, help it to generate and go forward. And in that journey, every one of us standing in this hall, sitting in this hall, breathing in this hall, is contributing, and I'm sure will contribute. With these few words, I thank the organizers again for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.